They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We have such sights to show you.
Who's laughing now?
God, you crazy. I'll kill you all. I'm the nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
They're here.
Are we here? Because I'm so damn it. All right. Dang it. I'm usually better at that.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Girls Gore Engine. Wop, wop.
How is everybody today? Timothy, how you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Timothy.
Bree, Warren, how are you guys today?
Excellent, fabulous, wonderful. I've got my snake shirt on. I feel the power of the snake. Whatever that means. I don't know. But we'll go with it.
I like it.
I always think of that guy. I'm a snake. Snake.
Slytherin snake. Yeah. It's still funny. I still love that.
I love it. It's so funny because every time somebody comes into the shop, because I work at a tattoo shop, every time someone comes in to get a snake, that's always in my head. A snake. Every time I see a stencil.
I love snakes. I've always wanted a snake as a pet, but they're a lot of work, so much work. And then I would feel bad for it because I want a boa constrictor and they get enormous and I would feel so bad for it keeping it in a little box all the time. I'd want him to like be out and hanging out and stuff, but
Fabricio from Mexico. Sorry guys, real quick. Steven, Frankie, Goody, Fabricio from Mexico. How you guys doing?
Hey guys.
Thank you for joining.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Yes. That's the first thing right there. Thank you. Second thing, I hope you guys are ready for a little bit of creepy because we're going into some cryptids tonight. Some of which are very scary to me, and I believe the rest of us could agree on that.
Yes.
There are some cryptids though that I would want as a pet, but that's a whole different show. That's a whole different show right there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna light my cigar. If Lauren would do me the honors of bringing up tonight's Would You Rather.
Okay. Would you rather freeze to death or drown? I personally, honestly, I would just rather freeze to death because you get sleepy, fall asleep, Eventually, so you get numb, so you don't really feel it after a while. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the exact same. I think I would rather freeze. I mean, for the same reasons. Freezing to death, you just kind of fall asleep. You're cold for a while and then you're not anymore because your body goes into shock and you don't really feel it anymore. And then I think actually the opposite happens. I think your body actually like warms up to try to compensate for the cold. I think
that's actually what I was gonna say too. That's Can you guys hear me okay? I have my mic turned the wrong way.
Yeah, you sound great.
I can hear you.
Cool. All right.
But you can mute it though.
Oh, I'm on it. Here we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh no. Looks like the queen went into jail for the first time. Boom. I can do that. I still have the power.
Yeah,
Victory dance right there.
I would probably rather freeze to death because you just fall asleep. You kind of go, you get a little drowsy and a little woozy because your body just starts to shut down nicely and slowly, and yeah, that's probably the better way. I feel like drowning is so violent, and like you just that's like an actual like you're really fighting and struggling and struggling and struggling. I don't know. That just I don't know. I'd rather go nicely. If I could choose, I guess.
I heard that when you're drowning too, it's like it's exhausting. Like it's literally exhausting. Like you fall asleep eventually. Because I guess the lack of oxygen to your brain. But still,
that doesn't sound like a good. That doesn't sound like a good way to sleep though. There are sleeping pills. Melatonin, I believe it's called. Z-Quil. Many better ways to fall asleep. Yeah, there you go. See? And Doomsday Crypt, thank you for joining us over on YouTube, by the way. Drowning a lot faster than freezing to death. Here's actually, I've got a reason for both, and they're both related to freezing, though. Okay. The thing, Bree, you were talking about a second ago, paradoxical undressing happens, because your body warms up at the end where your hypothermia sets in, and your body just flushes with adrenaline, and all of a sudden you're warm everywhere, like, oh, you're so hot, gotta get the clothes off, and then you die. So you die naked, and a lot of the times, back in the day before they realized that, they thought you were a victim of a horrible assault, like somebody just ripped all this person die. Like, I don't know about that.
Wasn't there, they thought there was like a killer or something in the mountains. When that happened to people. Yes.
Dyatlov, that Russian group, like back, what was it, like the 20s or 30s or something? Or it might have been later than that. But yeah, that Russian group that went hiking and then they didn't hear from them, and then they went and found them, and it looked like there was this horrible, crazy. We should do. I don't know if you guys have already done an episode about that, but we should talk about that because there's a lot of mixed schools of thought about that. Like all of their tents were ripped open, and like they found a body in the trees or something like that.
Yeah. I think
that is the Dolvidov Pass is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a group of Russian hikers that were very experienced. These were, trained hikers. They did it for fun. They did it because they wanted to be there, not because they were forced to go get their borscht somewhere else. They had equipment. And then all of a sudden they were gone with traces of radiation. Signs of wounds from the inside out was also another one that's in part of that. But that's a whole episode right there. We got to go into that.
That's a whole thing. Yeah, that's a whole thing. I mean, I understand the practical where maybe they just got too cold, or one of the things that I've heard is they heard like a sound and they thought like an avalanche was coming. So they just like got out of there and started running, and then they got lost, and then they froze to death. And then like, what happens with that paradoxical, they started taking their clothes off and they went a little bit nutty. Plus it's high altitude. So even though they're experienced hikers, they were all that adrenaline and, this, that, and the other. But yes, I'm going to stop there because that's a whole episode.
That's definitely worth some stuff.
For sure.
And, let's see, what do you call it? Some stuff here. A lot of freezing, drowned in a bathtub like Whitney Houston. Charlie, I don't think it was just that. I think she had some other stuff going on.
Poor Whitney. I love Whitney.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't think so. I think I'd skip that one.
Dang it, Charlie.
A little bit, yeah. Would you rather listen to Frozen soundtrack or Drowning Pool CD?
You know what? I have never listened to a Frozen soundtrack, so I don't know. I do like Disney, so Drowning Pool, go away.
That's fair.
Well, I spend a lot of time with two small girls, so we do hear a lot of Frozen. So, I don't know. I might skip that. But Drowning Pool, forgive me, don't come for me in the comments, guys, but didn't they only have like one song?
I think
I know
so.
they had a whole album, but that one song that got them really big, and then did they kind of fall off, or did they? Because I know the singer died like a few years ago. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I only remember hearing one song.
The one. Yeah.
Was it the body song?
Can I full disclosure something right now?
Yeah.
I thought it was an actual CD of just drowning noises.
Did you say drowning?
I didn't know they were drowning pool. Who was drowning pool?
You said drowning.
Drowning here, huh?
Drowning pool was let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, that's the only song that I know that they did.
The song was a
Great
banger
music
when it
video.
first came out, though.
Yeah, the rest. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember them too.
Yeah, I don't remember any other song of theirs.
I'm lost. Yeah, I'm terrible. I apologize. I'm kicking myself off right now for a second.
Log yourself off.
Terrible.
Canceled.
Oh my goodness.
Canceled.
Oh. Before we get into tonight's topic, though, I did want to do a little shout out to some people who are shouting us out as well. High Attractions Magazine and Lorid's Wares. You can find both of them on Facebook, Etsy, and on High Attractions Magazine for print and for digital download, and for print and digital download. And they're coming back with an October edition. So I do hope to get some Girls Gore and Gin in there. Still working on that. But their links are in the description along with the merchandise page. You guys want to check that out.
Cool.
And yeah, just wanted to say a little thank you to them real quick.
Yeah, thank
really
you.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Amazing.
We could never get frozen out of our heads. Just let it go. Don't you start, Charlie. Your comment's getting off. Charlie's comment's no longer allowed on camera right there. Terrible. I'm not gonna let it go. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Oh no.
All right. Do we have a death we could laugh at, or are we gonna go right into it?
Always. Okay, so Terry Kath, back in January 23rd of 1978, he was at a party with his friends, and he decided that he was going to bring his guns to the party. Because, don't know why. Oh, damn it, Terry. So he brings his guns, and party's going, whatever. It starts to quiet down a little bit, So he takes his gun out and starts twirling him, doing some like tricks in his hand and shit. And he pulls out his 38 millimeter, and then he stops and he pulls the trigger and it clicks, right? So he's basically playing Russian roulette at this. So he pulls out a 9 millimeter and he's doing that, twisting it around, whatever. The host is like, "Hey man, you gotta stop that shit." And his words were, quote, "Don't worry, it's not loaded." Well, guess what was loaded? A 9 millimeter. So, haha, fuck you, Terry. You're stupid.
Damn it, Terry.
Real stupid. Like a heavy level of stupid is as stupid does, sir. My God.
So,
I mean, if you feel like the party was going to be boring enough that you needed to bring your guns, maybe skip the party.
There you go.
My time is valuable, man. If I know the party's going to be lame, I'm not going to do all this for it.
Right. Seriously, he ruined everyone's night, too, because they seemed like they were having fun. And then he shows up with his stupid guns, trying to show off, play a little cowboy bullshit.
And failed miserably. Come on, Terry.
What do you call it? In all fairness,
everybody hated that guy too. And the one guy that was like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't do that," was just doing it to be a nice guy. But everybody hated Terry. They're like, "Oh God,
fuck you, Terry."
Fucking Terry's here, man. He's gonna bring his guns. He's gonna bring his guns. Why did you text Terry and tell him to come? And then Terry shoots himself.
And then, you feel bad at the moment because it happened right in front of you, but then later you're like, you know what? We just want to throw another party.
I was gonna say, like, damn, we don't have to invite him anymore.
I mean, I don't think anybody really wanted to. Maybe they were just being nice. I don't know. How sad for his family, though. But you know, they probably knew. They knew that Terry's a good
Probably. I mean, he went to the party with his wife, so.
Oh, even better.
Oh my god.
She's probably like, Terry,
So
don't play the guns.
Terry, stop it! It's back in the 70s in Chicago. Terry, put the guns away.
Terry, don't
that's
bring
actually-
the guns, Terry. Oh gosh.
That accent.
No,
would be perfect.
Terry, don't.
It's so good.
Let's just go cheer on the Bears, all right?
You watch it now. I grew up in Chicago, y'all. So I'm just, as a Chicagoan, we don't claim Terry. I'm just gonna say
Don't.
we're not
don't
claiming
listen.
Terry.
Terry picked up. Get rid of Terry.
Terry's canceled. Oh, Terry's canceled, but maybe
He counseled himself
Well,
off of
He
this.
did it to
podcast.
himself, so it's honestly not your. Yeah.
well, okay.
He had the courtesy of not leaving a hashtag behind, which is just annoying. So.
Back in the 70s, thank.
Oh, jeez. He avoided all that mess. Can you imagine how bad he'd be roasted like nowadays?
Oh, I'm roasting him now.
God, yeah.
I mean, we're roasting him right now, but can you imagine?
Ooh, poor bastard. Yeah, I can. Reddit would be having a field day on that case. I think, and that would be wonderful to see.
And then Twitter would be like, "Don't make fun of Terry.
Yeah.
Or this is why we need more gun control."
Can you put a trigger warning on your post? Thank you.
Oh god. Oh gosh, that hurts. Just because that's so true. That's the part that hurts the most.
Can you censor your post so I'm not offended by it? You need to take this down now. This is offensive.
I think the
That's the
title
exact
of
same
our
people.
show, the name of our show is like literally a trigger warning.
I mean,
there's going to be girls. There's going to be gore. There's going to be maybe drinking.
It's like a 50-50 chance there's drinking usually, yeah.
I mean, I'm trying this new vodka that I've never had before. It's like made in Idaho, gluten-free, made from potatoes and no added sugar. There's like 52 calories in like however many ounces.
Well, you're not
diet vodka.
Vodka and tequila are like the best alcohols in that sense for you. So yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll try that out.
Yeah. The bottle's pretty, but it's all the way over there. So
that's usually what gets me. If the bottle's nice, I'm a total bottle shopper. I've been burned so many times, but
I know.
Me too. It's rough out there for nice bottles, all right?
There is. I bought that wine that one time. I think it's called like 19 Crimes. It comes in like a black bottle.
Those are so cool. And then they have a little
wine though, right?
interactive, like
and you put your camera like on the picture, but, like the old timey mugshot that's on the front. Like the mugshot comes alive and like talks and tells you the story of the person.
The wine's not that great.
Oh, but the wine was so bad. It was so bad. I was so angry.
Walking Dead they partnered with the 19 Crimes, and they had Walking Dead stuff on those wine bottles.
I don't know if I would want to try a Walking Dead wine. I feel like it would taste like zombies or something. Ooh.
Well, it was like a 19 Crimes. It wasn't that good.
So it was shitty. It was still shitty.
Dang it, who did it? It was a whiskey. Not Jack Daniels. Johnny Walker did a collaboration with Game of Thrones, White Walker.
I've seen that.
It was actually pretty nice. It wasn't their best, it was still a nice mixing, whiskey, but decent for that collaboration, just for the bottle to look really cool. That's all it was.
That's what it is, I think, huh? Just the advertising.
I think that's like for collectors. like crap to put on their.
Oh man, I really wanted. The Game of Thrones has like their own line of wines. I want to try those.
Yeah.
Be
I mean,
fancy.
they're just like guzzling that stuff on that show. And I think it looks like a red wine, and I'm not particularly a red wine fan, but I'm like, man, it must be good because they're just gulping. So,
Hi, Mandy. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried it. It looks good though. I indulge in red wine every once in a while.
I try a sip.
A little bit here, a little bit there.
Little sip.
All right, enough drinking, and now it's time to get us spooky, y'all.
Spooky.
All right, I don't know if it's spooky. That's the wrong word, but it's definitely some creepy stuff out there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What do you call it? What? Who wants to go first? Anyone in particular?
I'm kidding.
Well, I'll go first. I don't know if necessarily what I'm going to talk about is actually a cryptid, or if it's more like folklore, or if it's just kind of one of those like urban legend kind of a thing. But I was listening to a podcast the other night, and they were talking about this, and I don't know if it was just the mood I was in that night, or maybe I was tired, but it's creeped me out. Like I almost had to turn it off. Like I wasn't into it. But what I'm talking about is they're called black-eyed children. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but black-eyed children, and I'm reading off a little article here. Black-eyed children are an American contemporary legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes, who are reportedly seen hitchhiking or begging, or are encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. So when we're talking black eyes, we're not talking, with a white sclera and then like really dark irises and then your pupil. We're talking completely black, like black top to bottom, front to back. Yeah, like that, like completely black. So basically think of a Fremen from Dune, but with black instead of blue. Now that necessarily isn't what creeped me out. It was more, I mean, if you would see, you're at the mall or something and you see a child that looks like that coming up to you with completely black eyes. I mean, I don't know.
That is creepy as hell. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that right there, that main picture that's right up there.
Right.
Take it off the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's going away for a second.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So the thing that creeped me out the most about this is essentially the story that was heard. It looks like tabloid coverage of these creatures has claimed tales of black-eyed children have existed since the 1980s. So this is kind of a new thing. Yeah. Most sources indicate that the legend originated from 1996 postings written by Texas reporter Brian Bethel, who on a ghost-related mailing list. So this is in 96. So this is back in the glory days of the internet where you could just find random chat rooms and, all these little weird websites that people were making.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Right. The good stuff back in the day. And he wrote about 2 alleged encounters with black-eyed kids. Bethel describes encountering 2 such children in Abilene, Texas in 1996 and claims that a second person had a similar unrelated encounter in Portland, Oregon. Bethel's stories have become regarded as classic examples of creepypasta and gained such popularity that he published an FAQ just to keep up with demand for more info about this new urban legend. In 2012, Brian Bethel told his story on a reality TV series, Monsters and Mysteries in America. I don't remember this show. Has anybody seen this Monsters and Mysteries in America? I want to find this. Maybe we can find
that a Mandela effect thing?
I know.
I don't remember it. 2012 was like the era for people recognizing shit, by the way. That's a whole other episode that I want to talk about too, by the way. Write that down, Miguel.
Yeah. So essentially what these little kids are is
America?
Monsters and Mysteries, right?
Monsters and Mysteries in America is the name of this reality TV show. So essentially, the story that I heard on this podcast is, I'm not sure if it was. I'm assuming it might be from this Brian Bethel gentleman, but I'm not sure. But essentially, he was walking out to his car. It was one night. I think he was like leaving a store, or he was leaving work or something like that. Walking out to his car, and he kind of gets in his car, starts it up. And this is in '96, so maybe he was going through his CD book or loading up his tape deck or whatever, getting ready to go, and he hears a little knock on his window. And he looks over, and there's two kids, like, at his window, like this.
No.
And he's kind of like, what? But it's really, really late at night. And so he's like, what are these two little kids doing? Like, really? So he rolls down the window, right? Again, '96. He rolls down the window, and he's like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are you? And these two little kids are just like, can we get a ride? Like, we need a ride home. Our mom's looking for us. And he's kind of like, just gets this overwhelmingly creepy feeling where normally, like, if you see two little kids really late at night saying, hey, can we get a ride home? You would be like, yeah, sure. Like, and I'm not talking like teens. They're like small, like little guys. Yeah. If it were me, I'd be like, yes, get in the car. Absolutely. Like, what are you doing out late? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. I'd take them to the police station.
Yeah.
Honestly, because if their kids run around that late at night, something's going on with their parents that they probably don't need to be at home.
Exactly. Absolutely. I feel the same way. So he just gets this overwhelmingly creepy feeling, and he's kind of like, well, but he doesn't want to drive off right away because he doesn't know what's going on with these kids. And he's kind of like, well, you know, I don't know. And he's kind of stalling for time and kind of shuffling around, and these kids are still just, and the one thing that I remember that they said was that these kids never blink, and they're just staring with their big old black eyes, just staring at him. And there's two of them. And I think, if I remember correctly in the story, only the one spoke, and the other kid just stood there, you know, and they're wearing like big old hoodie sweatshirts, and they're kind of like these ragtag looking kids. And he's like, well, I don't know, kind of shuffling for time. And I don't know. And then he's like, all right, guys, well, you know, trying to find an excuse to just get out of there, because he's like, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. And so he kind of rolls up the window real fast, and he goes to like put his car in gear and like get his seatbelt on so he can drive away. And then the kids start pounding on the window, and they're like, no, you have to take us. You have to take us. And they're like screaming and yelling and this.
Smack
and
the
he
children.
just
Run.
drives away. He just
run those fucking kids over.
Right. Fuck them kids. He just drives off and leaves these kids. And then there was another story that I heard, and this is the one that creeps me out more, is that there was a couple at home one night. And again, I think they were watching TV, hanging out, and they hear a little knock on their front door, and they open the door, and there's like a little group of kids at their front door. And again, there's one in the front, and only the one in the front spoke. And he said, can we come in and use your phone? We need to call our parents. And it was a couple, and the wife says, what's going on? Are you guys okay? Like, where's your parents? And they're like, we need to call our parents to come pick us up. And she goes, again, like the same story, there's this overwhelming feeling of dread and spook and creep. It feels icky. It doesn't feel good. Like, oh, something's going on. So she goes back into the house to go grab the phone so she can give it to the kid so he can call his parents. And he says, can we come in? It's really cold out. Can we come in? Like, can we come inside to call our parents? And she says, well, as you might. She didn't really feel comfortable letting him in the house because something didn't feel right. And she's like, no, I'm sorry. I just, but here's the phone. You can call your parents, and, you know, I'll wait here on the patio, on the doorstep with you. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't think I can let you in the house. And so,
Screw that.
Yeah. I don't know if the kid actually did call anybody or if he just pretends, and he holds the phone up, and then like instantaneously he's like, they didn't answer, and he goes to hand the phone back, and she's like, again, creepy, because she's like, no way was that enough time to have the phone to your ear.
Yeah.
Why, you know, the phone didn't even have time to connect and ring. It was just like instantaneously they didn't answer.
Yeah. It's almost as if like the kid is like just imitating a kid. Like he's a creature in a kid's body. like, oh, this is what humans do. Like,
That's
And so
God, we gotta go more than that, yeah.
Yeah. And so the kid hands the phone back and he said they didn't answer. And then he kind of like leans in again with the eyes and he's like, can we come inside?
Jesus Christ.
And she's like, no, I'm so sorry. And then again, just this, it keeps coming and coming, this overwhelming feeling of, this doesn't feel right. I don't like this. I don't like what's going on. And she said, you're more than welcome to wait here on the doorstep, but I can't let you in. And so she politely just kind of scoots back in her house and shuts the door. And then like a couple minutes later on the front living room window, all of these kids are just like banging on the windows and they say, no, you have to invite us in. You have to invite us in. We have to come in. We have to come in. And of course, rightfully so, this couple starts freaking out and they run and they go in the kitchen and try to hide. But every room that they go into, there's a window, and these kids happen to find the window and they're all just banging on the window like with fists, and they're screaming, you have to let us in, you have to let us in, you have to let us in. And then the husband says, fuck this, goes to run to grab the phone to call the police. But as soon as he leaves the room and goes to grab the phone to call the police, they disappear completely. They're gone. They stop banging on the windows. And so the wife kind of tentatively like is peeking through the blinds, looking to see where they are. She can't see him, can't find him. But they call the police anyway, because they're like, I don't know what just happened. This was weird. And so the police do show up. They come out. They search the property. No trace of these little buggers anywhere whatsoever.
That.
So what is this? Like, are these aliens like pretending like they're kids? And why do they want to come in your house so bad? Like to the point where they're banging and saying, let us in, let us in.
Well, I wonder if they're like vampires because you have to be invited in.
Right. That was another thing. But I didn't read up any stories of these little kids attacking anybody or being violent, or just those completely black eyes. And the kids aged from 6 to 16. They're usually kind of in ratty, tattered clothes, kind of like they look like maybe they're street kids or something like that. And just whenever they get near you or come around you, just that overwhelming feeling of, this doesn't feel good. Like you can't really put your finger on why it doesn't feel good. It just feels off. And then the more time that you spend around them, the deeper that feeling gets, where you're like, oh, I don't really like this. It's like if you're going into a situation that you're not too comfortable with, you're already kind of tense, but then the deeper you get into the situation, you're like, nope, I don't, ooh. And then you finally reach that point where you're like, I can't, nope, this is bad.
That's your body and your brain telling you something's not right. Your fight or flight, your reptilian brain's kicking in.
Yep. So
hell no.
And so once these stories started to come out, then all of these other stories from all around the world started to come out too, talking about sightings or encounters with these little things. So there's kind of a mixed school of thought. Alleged sightings are taken seriously by ghost hunters, some of whom believe that black-eyed children are extraterrestrials, vampires, or embodiments of ghosts. So it's kind of hard to put your finger on what these little guys might be, but to me, it's just creep. I don't know. I think it was just the idea of creepy kids. I don't know. I can't do a creepy kid.
Like kids they're supposed to be sweet and innocent, you know. And then I've heard some stories about parents saying that their kids have said like weird, crazy shit, and it makes them like sort of afraid of them. It's like, wow. Because at that point, it's like their brain, they're not children.
Right.
At that point. Like, it doesn't feel like that. You know, their brains are they've seen too much, or they know, like, why do you know that? How do you know that? Like, just weird shit like that.
I've heard some kids say just in my own life, I've been around some kids who have said some pretty terrible stuff, and you don't really know how to deal with it, because you're like, where did you hear that? Or why would you say that? Or like, what's going on? Why are you saying that? And they don't have an answer for you. They're just, I don't know, My brain
Creepy
just
little
thought it
kid
up.
sometimes.
But I can't do a creepy kid. I don't know. But I think it's just the whole concept of the black eyes and how they just stare at you without the blinking. And I'm like, it's that uncanny valley thing. Like if you look and then but you're not blinking, it's like it's like when you see an adult with baby teeth, that uncanny valley thing where you're like, that doesn't.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, I think like all that stuff added together, like you think of even if you didn't see the black eyes right away, but you see a bunch of kids standing out there in the middle of the night, being quiet except for one of them, because kids never are quiet, especially if they need help. They're going to be yelling and talking and trying to get what they need out, but they give too much information at once, so it's a nonstop, just kind of verbal. I don't know, piñata just coming all out on you.
Not even crying either, just like
And then what they're saying, all of that together mixes into something that makes you feel uneasy, but then that feeling of dread is the other thing that's like it's a whole other level. Like even before the eyes, because I think a lot of people will feel that dread and then kind of notice there's something wrong with their eyes. What is going on?
Yeah, it's kind of like some I'm forgetting the name of it, but there was a really great horror movie I watched very recently where there's this scene where it's like this guy is sitting, I think he's a therapist, and he's sitting in a chair across from the gentleman that he's treating or speaking with or having a session with, and you can just see the camera, which is supposed to be like his therapist's point of view, looking at the gentleman that he's working with, and the camera's just kind of slowly panning into all of this stuff on his face, like that kind of thing. It's like the more you look, the more that you notice that like, ooh, something's off. That's not right. Like, this is making me uncomfortable. I mean, I've even had that like in real life where like the more I'm spending time with somebody or the more I'm talking, I'm like repelled a little bit because I'm like, it's the more vibe you pick up and you're like,
like something in your brain is telling you, it's that flight or that
get away,
fight or flight.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like creepy children.
No.
I fully agree with Mandy here. With some kids do just have a natural gift. I think I don't know about astral projection itself. I don't know much about that, although the name kind of explains what it is. But I think kids can see, feel, and understand things, just because they haven't been weighed down with what we're told reality is supposed to be.
Right.
Reality is a really fickle thing.
Yeah, for kids, like everything that's happening to them is the first time usually they've experienced it. It's like their first time living through any of this. Like, and they don't know, their brains are not 100% developed yet. They don't know, they haven't been through a lot yet.
Yeah.
Just think about like a funny movie, like if you watch a funny movie that you laugh at really hard, you saw it for the first time. I mean, you've seen it and you enjoyed it. And then you watch it again after you know the jokes, and you actually start noticing things in the background that make it either funny or just details that you missed because it was your first time experiencing that reality. I know it's a weird comparison, and then take that same brain and take it into a child's brain. Like if you go back and watch the Rugrats or something as a kid and you like that, and all of a sudden you notice the adult innuendos that they throw in the background, like, how the fuck did they get this in here? And I had no idea.
Oh my God.
Reality stacks on itself the more we experience it.
Yeah, I think just knowing my sense of humor and the sense of humor I have now, I think there was a reason that Rocko's Modern Life was my favorite cartoon when I was a kid. Yes. I mean, I think that fostered that because I have like the complete series on DVD and I was just rewatching it a few months ago and I was like, this makes perfect sense. It makes sense. This is why I am is this show right here. So, but I know you guys have probably heard about that and seen the memes. It's like, why was this a kid's show?
Oh my God. Invader Zim.
Oh my God.
Oh baby, oh baby.
Dexter's Lab. Like there's so much. Gosh, the good old days of cartoons. That was great.
Oh man.
Real Monsters. You guys remember Real Monsters? Yeah. The glory days, the good old days of cartoonery.
Miss it. I mean, we can do a whole thing about just how bad it was compared to what it is now. I mean,
oh my God.
Now we have Coco Melon.
Oh gosh, I miss it all.
Totally. I want to go back so bad. I want to go back.
All right, I'm gonna do mine real quick then, Lauren, because it actually ties in with the black-eyed kids a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
And let me get my what do you call it? And I
Johnny
actually did one.
Johnny Bravo.
Ooh.
Hello, mama.
Man,
Oh, Johnny
pretty.
Bravo. Oh my god. Yeah. But okay, so one thing that I think is actually pretty connected to it is the actual cryptids of the Men in Black. Let me get a picture reference here.
Yes.
All
Boom,
right.
there we go. Will Smith obviously is a cryptid. We all know. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is just
Jada would be the cryptid, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
She's a
Oh,
little.
come on. Oh. But here,
She's
let me get
cool,
the
but she's
actors.
a little weird.
Are we sure that Tommy Lee Jones isn't the cryptid?
Tommy Lee Jones is probably, but in a good way.
Yeah, of course.
He's just a grouchy old man.
Yeah, a grouchy old Texan, but we love him.
So the story behind the Men in Black usually follows around extraterrestrial sightings, but smaller cases. Like you don't really hear about them around Area 51 as much, or the story of those loggers getting abducted in the Arizona mountains and stuff, or the New Mexico mountains. Fire in the Sky. Yes, they're usually part of smaller stories, and then they become the main focus because all of a sudden there are these really creepy men in usually black suits, black or gray suits, who kind of appear and act sort of human and tell you that you're not supposed to see this stuff and don't talk about it. That's usually the main focus of what they're there for, is to tell people you're not supposed to be seeing this stuff. And I bet you a lot of people out there, if you just saw something you believe is extraterrestrial, and then you got a visit from the government itself telling you don't say anything, that would be creepy enough. But a lot of these sightings come with people, or Men in Black in this case, who appear not to have joints, not to have lips, but painted on lips. They wear gloves because they don't want you to see their hands. They have equipment, but they don't know how to work anything. They don't know how to work doors in some cases. One story they were told, or that I was reading over, was they're at this dude's house and they drank a gallon of bleach while they were there. And they're like, what is this? And they took a big swig and they passed it to the next one and they finished off a gallon of
spicy.
Well, you know, I mean, it is sanitary, I guess, in a sort of way.
It cures
But-
COVID.
Well, maybe.
Technically, cures what? HIV, hepatitis, AIDS, bleach.
We are not a medical show, though, just to be sure, guys. Don't try that.
Disclaimer. We're idiots.
Speaking of the bleach thing, do you guys remember that show or the movie Alien Nation? The movie, the movie had Scott Conn, or maybe it was the TV show that had Scott Conn. Oh no, it was the TV show that had Scott Conn. The movie was a different guy, or maybe it was vice versa. It was a TV show, and then they made like a couple feature-length movies. But anyway, the aliens were bald, and they had like brown spots, like on the back of their heads and down their neck and stuff.
I don't
know, obscure reference. But you were talking about drinking bleach, and it just reminded me of that show because milk is. When these aliens drink milk, they get drunk. Milk
oh, wow.
I don't know. It was totally random thing popped in my head. Go ahead.
I have to watch it.
It's pretty great. I mean, it's definitely aged, but it's still. I remember watching that a little bit when I was a kid with my grandmother and my mom and stuff. It was one of those like very, very niche alien. I don't know if you guys out there, if you remember Alien Nation, let me know. But yeah, it's. But anyway, go ahead.
That up.
Yeah, it's great. It's just like great 80s alien stuff.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. Them definitely check that out. But the reason that I think that the Men in Black and the Black-Eyed Kids kind of tie together because there's a lot of similarities in story. There's a lot of that feeling of dread. There's a lot of times where they will ask to be let into a place, or they will call people and like, hey, we need to discuss such and such a situation with you. Can we come over and discuss it? And, at that point, you're on the phone. You're thinking you're going to talk to someone and get more answers. So, yes, come on over. And all of a sudden, they're already in your front of your house. They're already there. And a lot of these stories come from about the 70s, 60s, and 70s, when the more reputable groups, not like Project Blue Book, but like the independent groups that study unidentified phenomenons were coming together. So they want information, but at the same time, this is not the era of cell phones and payphones. Well, payphones, yes, but no cell phones, no like mobile devices they could use to call from in front of your house. So they're getting a call, and then the moment that it happens, there's someone already there at their door ready to knock. It's these weird. It could be coincidence, there's somehow it could have happened. It's not unbelievably impossible, but it's a lot less likely then. And then the people themselves not knowing how to really be human while talking to other people. It's just that feeling of uncomfortability, and that uncanny valley, I think, was a great word for it, because I know that kind of applies more to art and stuff, but I think it definitely applies in real life. If you saw something,
those sex dolls, like, where's the line there? Have you seen the new sex dolls they're making? Holy,
those real dolls, yeah.
No, I've never even looked it up.
Whitney Cummings bought one. Whitney Cummings, she's a comedian. She actually did a whole bit using the sex doll of herself that she had made. It's fucking crazy. It looks real. It's not. She spent like thousands of dollars on this.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah.
Creepy. But yeah, uncanny valley is like when the robots look like people. That's what that reminds me of.
I would never look up anything like that. I don't know what you guys are even discussing right now. So
yeah, I mean, you've never heard of that before, Miguel. I know that's completely.
Miguel's like, how much?
Where is the Salma Hayek version? What? Oh, nothing. What do you call it? Don't judge.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Any of them?
From dusk till dawn, man.
Salma Hayek now, Salma Hayek, in her start of her career.
She's
Salma Hayek in 20 years from now, probably. She's gorgeous. All right. Don't tell me you guys wouldn't have a doll of Salma Hayek around.
What about
just a high five and like, I did something good today, Salma. High five, and then that's it. I'm not alone on this. Come on.
No, I'm sure you're not. I don't know if I would have that. Maybe somebody else. Maybe like Charlotte Flair. That's who I would have.
Oh, got to have the queen around. I get it. Queen and queen. I get it. Mm-hmm. That'd be a good sitcom, actually. Yeah.
Two queens?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd be more scared of her than it. No, I wouldn't be scared of Charlotte. I just wouldn't want to like.
If I saw a full, I know it's not rubber, but I'm saying a full rubber creation of Charlotte Flair like hiding in someone's house, I would freak out and run away. She's like 6'5" or something. She's ridiculously tall.
I had to look it up. I'm sorry. That's what I was doing. I was looking to see who she is. Yeah, she's very pretty. I
would be terrified of her. But
yeah,
back to the Men in Black.
Very tall and very scary.
Oh yeah, she's a presence, but she's very pretty. I think
you'd let her beat you up.
Yeah. Guilty.
I would like let her punch me in the arm really hard. And then when I would get a big giant bruise, I would get the bruise tattooed, and then I'd have her sign it. And I'd be like, "Look,
she punched me.
She punched me."
I'm sorry, Miguel. I keep interrupting.
That is genius. I love it. I do love that. Oh no, Charlie. There is no Charlotte Flair sex doll that goes woo. No, absolutely not. Oh my god.
That'd be great though. Woo!
WWE is gonna make a lot of money one of these days. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, a lot of the stories that a lot of the stories that you hear about from Men in Black also kind of originate online, even though the stories take place before the internet, really. And if you go back to say some of the witch trials, some of the confessions that they kind of forced out of people mentioned these men who are not men, but appeared to be in black suits. And obviously, it probably didn't mean the same kind of black suits we think of when we think of the Men in Black kind of look, that black suit with the black tie and the very pale skin. But it's very similar, if you will. The same mannerisms, the same eerie feeling, the same coming with an evil presence. So they've not. It's not just an internet folk story, I guess. It's not really just a creepypasta. there are a couple of little things that might be at least similar to, if not connected to, in the same way. So I think they go further than just internet stories, and that's the part that creeps me out. Because if I saw somebody who looked like they didn't have joints in their hand and had to paint on their lips because they didn't have proper lips, I would probably freak out a little bit, just a little bit.
Michael?
Yeah.
With the gloves and the pail and the
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was trying to be funny.
Oh yeah.
Michael.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap mine up though, so we can go into Lauren's. Let's get this one awesome.
All right. So I am terrified of there actually being a kraken in the ocean, because we've only explored about 5% of our oceans. We know more about space than we do about the ocean. And we've seen teeth of like the megalodon. Like, we've seen bones of creatures that are as tall as some buildings and all kinds of shit. So it's like, who's to say that there actually isn't a kraken in the ocean? So the Scandinavians, this was part of their, their folklore. 1180 was actually the first written mention of the kraken in literature, or some type of literature, in like the Scandinavian area, like Norway, Greenland, all that. It's said that you can't see them in the water, and then their tentacles just come up and they pull the ship down, and basically you're screwed. That's scary to me, because cephalopods in general are very smart. They're intelligent creatures. They're cute. When you see like a little octopus at the aquarium, they're super cute. They're fun to look at. But when you think of them being like the size of like 10 ships, with those beaks in the middle of their body, oh my God, it's so terrifying to think of. And it's like, in this folklore, like you never see them coming, because they lurk deep in the ocean and they're so big.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. What's that called? That fear of the ocean? Like, it's like thalassophobia or something like that. Where it's it's just a fear of like deep water.
Deep water,
like
yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. It's funny because, I'm a Scorpio. You think, oh, water, dope. No.
Yeah, no.
Not really. Not really. Oh, man. So cephalopods, like squid, octopi, whatever. Is it octopi or octopuses?
I think the jury is still out on that.
I honestly don't know.
There is a 007 movie called Octopussy, so I'm gonna go with that.
Wait,
that's not even, that's,
what kind of movie is this?
James Bond?
It's canon. No, that's a real spy movie.
It
totally
is canon. Miguel's
British.
correct.
Thank you. Yes, that was not at all Charlotte Flair.
Which one was that? Was that Sean Connery Bond Octopussy? Was that Tim Dalton?
I don't think it was Sean Connery. I don't think so.
Sean Connery just has tentacles and he's slapping women.
No, James Bond did not turn into a squid person. No, that's not what it was about.
He might have.
Although that would be interesting. But no, like Richard's saying there, we have not been to the deepest parts of the ocean.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, we've only explored 5% of our oceans. So yeah, it's, folklore and possibly a myth. And people say that they've seen these creatures. I mean, they found a giant squid in, 2006? It was
they're real. They're 100% real.
Yeah, their first actual video recording of a giant squid, which if those are real, who's to say that the octopus isn't real? So it scares me because it's
tangible,
that it's real. Like, yeah.
Totally. I mean, that's that whole thing about how there are just certain parts of the ocean that we physically cannot go.
Right.
Because we have not figured, because the water pressure is just so intense and crazy that we just have not figured out how to get there. So we have to send our little unmanned submersibles down there. And even then it's kind of tough, and they shut down, or like the camera picture breaks and cuts out because it's just, we're still figuring it out. So
and there's no light down
incredible.
There. Yeah, I was gonna say the light, like there's not enough light from like one little thing that they send down there to show really much of anything.
Yeah. That's so incredible to me, because you're absolutely right. And then you can just think about like, what is down there? What's down there? What are they doing down there? That's why nobody can fully convince me that mermaids are not a thing, because it's like,
I believe they're real too.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they've learned that they're smarter than we think, and they've learned that we're looking, so they just evolved to go deep down there, and they know that we can't go down there. So this isn't, I'm a big fan of the not pretty, like, aerial mermaids. Of course, I love Little Mermaids.
Me too, because they're not going to look like that.
No.
They're going to look like the things that they found in the Philippines. Was it the Philippines where they had, like, a beak almost for a mouth?
Yes.
Like, instead of like a face and like teeth, it's like still a head, but it had like a beak coming out like this.
The kraken beak, yeah.
I didn't see that at all. I'm gonna look that up.
It's so creepy. And honestly, and if you like you were talking about Loch Ness earlier,
yes, my girl Nessie.
Okay, I'm kind of mixed on that one, because I've heard that the Loch Ness is actually a whale penis that they supposedly thought was like some monster, but if you've seen a whale penis, it's like the same shape.
Okay.
So it could either be whale dick, or there could actually be like a crazy monster down there, which again, we don't know.
Who's to say? But again, I think it's one of those things that if she's an actual creature, I mean, like I was saying with the mermaids, I think that, creatures are a lot smarter than we think that they are. So she's figured out, they're looking for me. Like tourists are paying Scotland a lot of money to find me. But they won't, though. It's just figured out to, like, she knows where she is. She knows her house better than anybody else would. So she's figured out all her little nooks and crannies where she can hide, or she just kind of starfishes herself on the bottom and just blends in and waits till the boat goes over her head, and then she's like, suckers.
Damn it, Charlie.
Damn it, Charlie. I just saw that comment. Yeah. Good job. You started a whole friggin' conspiracy theory. You didn't wear your swimming trunks that day. We're talking about parts of the oceans that we can't. I'm not a big fan of parts that we have explored. I'm not a fan of the ocean. It's very scary.
No, all those fish with the weird teeth and the eyes, I just, no.
I'm talking about surface level, like right on top of the ocean. Like, you ever see the videos of like the boats? All of a sudden, the whale's like, I'm going to like jump for a little bit because I want to. And bam, boat's gone.
Oh my God. No. Oh, killer whales. They call them killer whales because they're fucking evil and they kill for no reason.
I mean, we all loved Shamu when we were kids, but orcas, man, they're dickheads. They're horrible. Yeah. They're horrible creatures. But with that being said, though, I'm going off of, you can't convince me that mermaids aren't real. I am fully convinced that whales and dolphins are aliens completely. Yeah, like, absolutely. Just with their communication and the way that they can communicate, not just within their own little groups and pods, but the ways that like dolphins that can actually communicate with other whales, and like they can kind of figure out where they all are, and they have their own little hierarchies and the way that they interact with each other. Completely convinced. Yeah. Like, I listen to like whale songs sometimes when I can't sleep, and I'm just listening to it and I'm like, cool. What are you saying to each other? Like, marine biologists, they think they figured it out to be like, oh, they're just letting each other know where they're at or which direction they're going to go swim, or oh, we found food over here, come look over there, come look over here, or hey, where's my hey kid, where are you, where's my baby? Oh, I'm over here, mom. Like, they think that's what they're saying, but
we don't know that.
I don't think so.
I mean, if killer whales kill for fun, who knows what they actually have like going on in their brains. Like, who knows how much they actually, like, how intelligent they really are.
Mm-hmm. And have you guys seen that old YouTube video of the dolphin that like blows a perfect bubble ring? And then he like with his echolocation, with the sounds that they make, he's like pushing it through the water and kind of playing with it with his nose. And then the other dolphin comes over and they're both just kind of like tossing it back and forth. I'm like,
it's fascinating.
Completely advanced creatures. Like, we have no idea what these creatures are doing. Like, and we're just training them to do backflips in a big old bathtub. Like, come on.
And with this kraken, if they're just a giant octopus, like, the octopus knows, like, it can, like, they've been known to, like, get out of their enclosures or their little tanks at the zoos and stuff, like at the aquariums. Like, they are problem solvers. Also, they can squeeze through any little thing that they can get their beak through.
No
like cats do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, holy cow! Like,
there's YouTube videos of them going through mazes to find food and whatnot. Like, the scientists will build a maze in the water so they can go through it properly. And those unbelievably tiny openings to larger areas, and they can completely, I guess, traverse. I don't know the proper word for it. They can solve the maze.
Yeah,
and that's pretty fascinating too.
Yeah. So with that intelligence on top of the size and just the strength and the little hooks on their suckers and their beak, no, thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm out trying to have a leisurely sail with my family or somebody, and then
I won't go deep water anything.
No,
I'm good. Don't fuck with the ocean.
No, just leave it alone. Whenever I go to the beach, I don't go past like my shins. Seriously, I'm not. I mean, I like to think it's because I'm not a very strong swimmer, but at the same time, I be knowing there's stuff in there. I'm not gonna mess with it.
Oh God, there's this TikTok that was going around. This guy was like, white people, quit touching shit. Don't
quit touching shit.
Touching stuff. Leave it alone.
Because that's what happens. White people want to come and explore and do shit, and it's like, no, don't. You shouldn't. Stay away. We should not delve deeper into the ocean.
Just leave it alone.
Stay away.
My favorite ones are when you see people that are like, oh, I'm at, like, people at Yellowstone. Oh, there's a buffalo. I'm going to get out of my car and go take a picture of it. And then you get trampled. It's like, you dipshit. Like, what do you...
No.
Or the people that go up to the seals in San Diego and stuff like that. They're like, just chilling on the beach. And they're like, I'm going to go pet it and take a picture with it. And then the seal will
crush your ass.
The seal...
That thing will beat your ass, yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, there's a reason why you get fined for messing with stuff. They're trying to protect you because animals are a lot smarter than we are. And they're like, bro, I'm going to jack you up. Get away from me.
Yeah.
And you know what? They deserve to once in a while. I would say I'll give them most of the cases. Yeah.
Totally. I never feel bad for those people. They're like, oh my God, I got trampled by an elk at Yellowstone. Well, what were you doing? What did you do?
Who's trying to take a picture with it? Yeah, your fault.
Take a picture from your car. We have Zoom. Like, just zoom into it. You don't
look it up on Google. What are you gonna do with that picture? What are you gonna do with it? It's gonna sit on your phone for years until you get a new phone, or until you drop it into a new phone there somewhere.
Stupid idiot.
All right, we're over time, guys. I will leave with one other thing about aliens and dolphins. The theory there. There also is a theory that the Black Plague was from outer space, that it dropped in spores on a meteorite surviving. That's a whole long story there, but there's a bunch of stuff that comes from space that could hit the planet, and since it is foreign, it's not like we can really protect ourselves, physically, as far as like immune system building up to something because it's completely new, or a creature. Like maybe it was completely microscopic at one point, just like we were, and then developing in to the dolphin or whatever other animal. Like if you look at Australia with its crazy looking animals, nothing else like that really pops up on Earth. You don't see a whole lot of marsupials anywhere else. I don't think anywhere else really.
Yeah.
but that could be a whole experience of microscopic life falling to the planet at a time when it was just right for it to also develop the same way we did. That's a whole other line of thought right there. That could be a whole episode on its own.
Oh
So
man, I could go on forever about that shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like the thing, kind of.
Yes, exactly like that. But less flamethrowers in the beginning, at least. Now we need all the flamethrowers we can get.
Now it's lame. I don't want to talk about it. If it doesn't have Kurt Russell and flamethrowers, I'm not into it. Like, I'm over it.
Get out of here. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fun night.
Oh, we will see you
And
guys
mind your
next.
business in the ocean, y'all. I know it's summertime and you guys are still going on one last vacation before summer's over. Don't mess with stuff. Stop messing with the ocean. Just
white people quit touching shit.
Quit touching shit. Just leave it alone. Oh gosh.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Same time, different topic. We'll have that up for you hopefully soon. Y'all have a great night.
Bye, ghouls.